My God, I hate drugs.
The queen of all media, Kris-Td, slams Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary Mocha online. That's after Uson dragged her deceased parents to defend the kissing controversy of President Rodrigo Duterte. Uson reposted an old video of former Senator Ninoy Aquino being kissed by female supporters moments before he was assassinated in 1983. The host and actress shared a lengthy post on Instagram aimed at the blogger turned public official. Aquino said she was hurt by Uson's move, adding she reopened wounds from when she was 12 years old. The Kapamilya star then borrowed words from her mother, the late former President Corazon Aquino, to reiterate that Uson crossed the line. She says, quote, "Tama na, sobra na. Kung may gusto kang punching bag, please ako na lang. Kasi buhay ako, kaya kaya kitang sagutin at hindi kita uurungan," unquote. Hours later, Aquino went on Facebook Live to further discuss the issue.
Pinaslang ang tatay ko at yung dalawang babaeng yon, nahalikan siya bago siya bumaba at bago siya na-assassinate. Hindi mo alam yung sakit na pinaramdam mo dun sa post na yon kasi naisip ko, sana nabigay yung karapatan na yun sa mom ko. My mom deserved that. Because my mom gave her entire life to my dad.
A check on our global headlines. The United States and North Korea have settled on a venue for the summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. On Twitter, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders announced Trump and Kim will meet for the first time at the Capella Hotel on Singapore's Sentosa Island. Delegations from the U.S. and North Korea met 4 times last week at the Capella Hotel to hash out the logistics of the summit. Sanders say the meeting will take place at 9 a.m. local time on June 12. History is made in Saudi Arabia as the kingdom issues its first driver's license to women. 10 women received licenses Tuesday, but officials expect another 2,000 to become legal drivers in the next week. It is part of a plan by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to reshape the economy, which includes more women in the workforce. The world's only ban on women behind the wheel ends June 24th. And famed fashion designer Kate Spade has died. New York police say the 55-year-old died in an apparent suicide in her Upper East Side home. Officers say she left a note before hanging herself and was found by her housekeeper. Spade is the 3rd high-profile designer in recent years to die by suicide. And the United Nations, Mai, is calling
they're calling on everyone to join the fight against plastic pollution. And yesterday was World Environment Day. The UN says up to 8 million tons of plastic waste end up in oceans every year. It adds the Philippines is 3rd in the world when it comes to plastic waste. CNN Philippines spoke with UN environmental advocate Antoinette Haas. She founded the group Planet Cora, which spearheads programs to clean up the environment.
We're hoping with Clean Seas Pilipinas, we'll have plastic drives in schools, children will be able to collect, and that will be partnered up with junk shops within communities. Money goes to the junk shops, money goes back to the schools as an emergency climate change fund as well, and for whatever they need yearly.
CNN Philippines also spoke with SIP PH founder Pacholo Espina, and he's urging people to use stainless steel straws instead of plastic straws.
The first thing that I realized about straws is that it's so simple. Think about it, like most of the time we're often paralyzed by the idea of, oh, the environment, something bad is happening to the world. I want to be able to do something, but it's not as accessible. Like, think about it. People would like, oh, okay, global warming. How do we fix the problem of global warming? There's so many parts to it.
So hard to grasp for a lot of people. Yeah, okay.
And the hope of SIP was to provide an accessible alternative that, here, this is something that you can do today.
Wow.
So
nice.
stainless steel straws.
Yes.
I just hope they're more readily available to everyone.
That's true though, and sana yung iba more affordable also because of course not everybody can afford a stainless
I guess what
steel
people
straw.
are doing now, you bring your own bags wherever you go, right? And you
Eco
bring your
bag.
own straw.
Yeah.
Sometimes you even bring your own cup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
or stained-
And stop using the plastic utensils, right? You can bring your own.
You can bring your own, yeah.
That's right,
I mean, these are things that little things that we do to actually help the environment. And on a side note, you know, there is this swimmer, a French swimmer, which is interesting.
Okay.
Ben Lecomte. He's 51 and he started his journey swimming off Japan to San Francisco, which means he'll swim across the Pacific Ocean. And this is to create awareness because he will be going through a patch, which is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And this apparently is 3 times the size of France. And this is where all of the garbage and the plastic converge. And he's going to be doing that. It will be interesting. It's going to take about 6 months.
But have you seen that video, though, of that garbage patch? It's astounding.
It is astounding.
Yes.
And in whales, we've been reporting about whales, ingesting.
turtles ingesting,
So
It's
this
sad,
is something that is quite alarming.
I was about to say, baka gusto mo samahan yung swimmer.
You can do it.
In the meantime, we bring you more news. Here's the business report.
Prices of goods continue to rise steadily as officials announce the inflation rate is at its highest in 5 years. But economic managers say there's no need to worry. Our senior correspondent Ina Andalong has that story.
Prices continue to rise. Faster, according to the latest inflation rate. Inflation in May stood at 4.6%, higher than April's 4.5%, and the highest in more than 5 years. What does this mean for consumers? Well, officials say current prices, even at the rate they've been spiking, should still be manageable for households earning 10,000 pesos a month.
Again, depende sa lifestyle mo, no? But we're seeing na merong nagkakasya. But of course, we want a more comfortable. Hindi naman yan ang pangarap natin sa bawat Pilipino.
Delia can't help but wonder how that's even possible. She has 4 kids who depend on her earnings in this rice and egg stall. She says 20,000 pesos monthly is barely enough for them. That's why higher prices is always bad news.
10,000. Pagkain lamang ngayon, tsaka mga gamot-gamot, kulang pa.
Officials explain those who had a 10,000 peso monthly budget before May would only have to spend an additional 459 pesos to meet the same expenses. In discussing inflation, they even presented this table of how a Filipino with a 10,000 peso monthly budget usually spends his or her money. The table supposedly proves that a 10,000 peso monthly budget is enough for basic needs. But clearly, the term enough is relative. In this table, food is pegged at more than 2,400 pesos a month. Electricity, gas, and other fuels at 744 pesos. And house rent pegged at just more than 1,200 pesos. No allocation yet for other needs like maintenance medicines or miscellaneous expenses for school.
This is based on the average Filipino family na ang basihan namin is the Family Income and Expenditure Survey. So it's really based on a nationally representative survey.
Kulang nga, kasi kasi kung sa amin nga, in-estimate ko sa amin, ang pamasahe, ang gasolina pa lang, 3,000 na isang buwan. Oh.
Saan kayo pupunta?
Dito sa palengke, tsaka sa bahay palengke simbahan. So, tapos, ang pagkain mo, everyday ang ulam lang, 300 a day, di nasa 9,000 na yun.
Many consumers blame the train law for the rising prices, but officials are stressing it is not the culprit because the law only contributed 0.4% to inflation. Instead, they point to external factors like world oil prices, which are pulling up local pump rates, declining fish catch, causing fish prices to go up, and higher production costs of corn, which increase prices of feeds for livestock produce.
We want the price of tobacco to go up because it's bad for your health. We also want the price of sugary drinks to go up because it's also not so good for your health. So those two prices have really driven the inflation rate, but it's something we planned for. It's not an accident. The thing that we did not plan for was the increase in the price of fuel. Unfortunately, we could not foresee that there was going to be gulo sa Middle East, and that drove the price of fuel up.
The train law is supposed to be tempered by measures like fuel subsidies, but apparently the agency concerned has not yet asked for any funding for this because it's still finalizing guidelines on how the subsidy program is going to be implemented.
I don't know, but the Treasury is ready to certify that there's fund available. So whenever there is a request from the OTR, we will release the money. Okay, so but there's no request at the moment.
One thing is clear, for now, belt tightening seems to be the only way to go. Ina Andolong, CNN Philippines.
We'll learn more about the rise in inflation and the effects of the train law from Budget Secretary Ben Jokno on The Source. Catch his full interview with our senior anchor and correspondent Pinky Webb live at 9 a.m.
This is New Day on CNN Philippines. It's Kris-Td versus Mocha Uson online. Find out what the queen of all media has to say to the Presidential Communications Office Assistant Secretary. New Day will be right back.